I think. Yeah, we're live.
Hey, there we are.
Hey.
World.
Guys, it's so good to have you here, honestly. So, Kevin, you're in Korea, and Jessy, you're in like California or Oregon?
Canada.
Vancouver, right?
Yes, Vancouver, Canada. Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's so good to have you guys here, man. So Kevin, I actually read up a little bit about you. Like you were coming in, you just came into the REI Conversion, right, team?
Yeah,
I don't know if he just came in.
It's been a while now. I'm not sure. Because I know you had to do a lot with Pebble and so on.
Yeah. So Jessy and I teamed up about, I guess, a year and a half ago or so.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I'm a little late. I'm a little behind, but
no, that's okay. Yeah, okay. We teamed up on the Pebble product for REI Conversion, and launched that last year, and we've been going strong since.
Nice. And like I read up, you did what was it, music, and then you switched to programming.
Yeah. I got a music degree, and then sort of realized that I was not cut out to be a professional musician, so switched it up and got my programming minor, and here we are.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. We'll talk a little more about that, but I want to do the intro. Guys, Welcome back to another Land Investing Pros live session. I'm so excited to have Jessy and Kevin here. They're from REI Conversion. I know some of you probably know them. Maybe if you guys don't know them already, from RE Tipster, REI Pebble, and all these other RE things that they have going out. They're pretty awesome, guys. So if you don't know them, look them up. Look up Jessy's podcast and REI Conversion podcast. It's pretty great. And honestly, I'm just stoked to be talking about this because I have a lot of students that come in, in my deal partnerships, and the first question they ask is like, should I get a Pat Live already? Should I get these systems already? Or like just expensive stuff. And they're talking about what do you have to offer in your course in terms of systems and all this stuff. And I tell them I keep it really simple, really stupid simple, really, in my system. So I think this would be very beneficial if you're just starting out, or if you want to scale your business, have a smoother process in your business, then definitely listen up here with Kevin and Jessy. But guys, how long have you been doing this with land investing specifically?
Oh my God. For me, it was when my son was born. So that was 2018, just beginning of 2018 for myself.
Nice.
Yep.
And that's about when I got started too. End of 2018, I think, is when I got started. And I heard it on a podcast and sort of was like, whoa, I could do this from Korea. Let me try this out. And it worked.
It's all remote, and it's crazy. I've had people from, I believe, Germany and Canada as well. So they're awesome. But that's the great thing about land investing, is that you can just do it all remotely as long as you have the systems. That's why it's so important to know what to use. That way you have more bang for your buck. You have a smoother transition in your business. But Jessy, with you, what made you decide to start up the whole REI Conversion?
That's a good question. When I first got started, I was placed in a mastermind group. And I think those are super valuable. I started with sort of people around my level at that time. And, one of the things that got me started really quickly was the fact that I could, I have a digital background. I did a lot of consulting and designing and, in that digital marketing space for a while. And so while I was sort of working on another project that whole time, I got my foot wet in land investing. And then, I could build out my buyer and seller websites, frankly, pretty quickly, and just started testing stuff. So that was one of the things that got me up and running really quickly, and automate certain things and streamline certain things. And then sort of my group in that we had about 4 or 5 other land investors. They needed websites. They were just wondering, how did I get it up? And so I said, hey, feel free, if you have something up, I'm more than happy to, give you an audit, let you know what you can sort of do to optimize. And then I was actually, that that group sort of fizzled out. So I got placed in another group. And then same thing happened. And then I just started posting some A/B testings that I was doing with one version of a website versus another in the, as you mentioned, the RE Tipster group that Seth Williams runs. So I posted it there. And then people started getting interested in that. And it's like, hey, maybe I can help other land investors at least start building some process at the start of their business, because I'm a huge believer in processes and systems.
Right.
I'm just naturally not the most organized person. So having something simple to kind of keep me in my lane helped a lot. So that's sort of how I got started. And then, we launched REI Conversion as a couple WordPress themes, and then we sort of started evolving from there. Kevin and I met in the same community, and then, we started to work on our REI Pebble, and that sort of brings us to today.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, guys. And I mean, I for me, I even posted on the Facebook groups that we have. It's literally all about automation, and then having a functional strategy. So long as your strategy works, whether in land investing or in any business, literally, if you have the right systems in place and the right strategy, you're going to scale your business. You're going to succeed for sure. I think for us, just starting out, I mean, I've had a year and a half. I'm actually going on 2 years now, and just starting out, it was all clunky. I had so many kinks in the system and my process. When I acquired a property, or even just in the acquisition of my property, I didn't know how to work with the mobile notary or how to download all this information that I needed, like the titles and what the titles were and so on. And I just found systems, that actually worked. Most of my VAs still use, just the website, the county websites and so on. But I'm looking at all these softwares that can actually help you get all the information that you need, and all these multi-tools that you can use. So can you guys tell us, or like in the acquisition process, what are some tools that when you're starting off that you would definitely recommend?
Well, Abdil, I'm glad that you mentioned making things simple to start with, because I think that's something people often overlook. They want to get started day one with the most complex, big CRM multi-tooled system. And that's, for some people that works, but for some people that just sort of adds time to the process. So for me, I was the same thing. Started simple, like just find the easiest mailing system, send out your letters, start getting some leads in, have them call your personal phone number. Like, it doesn't have to be in the same area code or whatever. Like, just get things started, and then you will quickly realize, like, oh wow, I'm spending X amount of minutes every day on this process. How can I automate that? And sort of that's the way it worked for me. Is I had all these things that I was trying to do, and I was, this was a part-time thing for me, and I was working from Korea, so I needed to build something that could sort of work while I was sleeping, and so that's sort of how I started evolving things. But it started simple. It was spreadsheets. It was, some basic, call management, and then sort of things added to it. And being a programmer, I was like, well, I can really automate a lot of this. So I sort of delved into using the programming tools available to me to automate a bunch of the process. So that's where sort of I started, and that started with mailing. So getting my mailing automated. So it was just a matter of like, pull a list, upload it, send the mail, and then start tracking my leads, because that's a big thing too, is making sure your lead follow up and your acquisitions process sort of has that ball rolling, because that's also a very time consuming process that sort of needs to be tracked of.
I think a lot of people undervalue momentum. So the way I like, and this is probably just making it a lot fancier than it really needs to be, but making sure you do whatever you can to keep that momentum going, because anything that kills your momentum as an entrepreneur, especially when you're getting started, is super, it can really just throw you off. And I know people who stop land investing because of a small little thing or whatever it may be. I mean, one of those things was being a Canadian. It was I'm figuring out the taxes and all that stuff. That really threw me off. So trying to figure out to do everything as simple as possible at the get-go, I think, is most important. Where your strengths are. Right. So I knew my strengths was I could easily build a website. That's not to say everybody has to build a website at the get-go. Figure out what you're good at, and then whatever is slowing you down, the moment that you think you can afford for it, get it off your plate somehow. Whether it's through, like you mentioned, 2 ways we can do this: outsource it to human resource, or find something. And then we're in the beauty of this digital age where software can do so much for us. So leveraging your time through human resource, or outsourcing it, or finding some software to help you with. And again, Kevin and I were both I'm a Canadian. I haven't even been to any of my properties. I mean, we've been locked. I can't even leave my city for a while. There are literally people on the street, cops on the street, stopping us from going into the neighboring cities. So you can imagine. And that's the thing. We can do this from anywhere, which is pretty awesome. So I think if you're looking for tools, have an audit from time to time as you're getting started. You're motivated. You've got that momentum. Look out for those things that kill your momentum. That's your worst enemy, especially when you're starting up at the beginning. Everybody is going to have different things, right? So that's sort of what I would suggest.
And I honestly, like, for me, and I love what you said about working with your strengths and outsourcing everything else you're not good at. Like, for example, I guess it's kind of a joke, but so I make all the posts on our Facebook groups, and you'll see them. They're clunky. They're kind of like sketchy looking. Like, maybe this is a scam. Ads look like that, because I don't have a background in like design and digital stuff. This is simple, and it works still. People still come to the live session and still call me up and so on, or even the ads that I use for business advertising, properties and email campaigns and stuff like that. I'd like to think that I myself am an artist, but I'm not. So could definitely and eventually I'll get to the point where I'll outsource that. I just don't feel like I need to do that right now. But I remember coming into land investing and meeting my business partner, Aaron. He's one of the land investing pros. And he already had a scaled business, and he was at the point where he was doing an audit on his business and in his entire process. And what he decided to do was to outsource the marketing. He hired some digital marketing agency or social media marketing. They took videos of the land that he had and all the properties, and it made it look professional. I mean, it was just so beautiful. And after that, he started selling a lot. He even came, like, I think he sells like 30 properties or more, pretty much. And he sells them at like 10, 15 times what he acquires them for, because he's crazy. But that to me is a big deal. And something that I tried to implement in my business was, for me, my strength is definitely my communication skills. I can definitely talk with people, and I can sell. I can sell the heck out of just about anything. But so that's why my business strategy, or my model, and the systems that I use all lead to me. My email campaigns, my phones, everything comes to my phone directly or to my email, and I get on the phone with them and I talk to them, because that's how I sell. My ads might not sell. My ads might not sell, but I know that I personally can. So as long as the ads tell them, hey, call this number, and they do it, I'm going to sell. And that's literally pretty much it. So for those of you who think I need a Pat Live, or I need some phone system that's really expensive, you don't necessarily need it. Your voicemail works just fine if you miss it, So definitely get into that space where I might need a Pat Live though.
Yeah, at some point you're always going to
Yeah,
run into to bottlenecks, and you just have to, like you said, you're great at selling, and so you should keep doing that. And then the things that you're not so great at, you can outsource those. So.
yeah.
Or the things you don't like doing.
Yeah,
Exactly. And that's why we hire virtual assistants and people who can take care of that for you, who can do, anyone can just about do this, honestly. And that's what I tell all my deal partnerships people. And I've neglected to let you guys know that are watching. You can't comment. You can ask us any questions. Let us know what you think. Also, just if you have a specific thing, a problem that you're dealing with, let us know. We might be able to help you right here and now. And we actually have a little bit of fangirling here, or fanboy. I love Pebble.
Where's my dog? She can say it. She can say hi here.
Yeah. Guys, in terms of sales, what systems do you guys see work best when you're like to smoothen out the marketing process on that, like your sales process? What do you guys, what's your system look like?
Yeah, so mine started out, I could sort of walk you through the evolution. It started out where I would try to direct people to my website, because I spend a lot of time making my website look good. Jesse's talked about how important that is to have a great looking website. So try to funnel all my leads, go to the website. We've got videos, we've got photos. I try to answer as much information about the property as possible, so there's not, those phone calls happening just saying, what's the acreage? And it's like, it's on a website. So then I have people either call or submit their information. So I typically, what I'll do is I'll do like a download on the website. So like I'll have a property detail sheet that has some extra information, and then I'll ask for an email when they download that. So that gets them on my mailing list, so I can start doing some additional marketing. And then if they do reach out directly, either they send me an email or leave me a voicemail or whatever, then they go. Initially, they would go. The way I had this initially built out is they would go into HubSpot, and HubSpot has sort of a kind of Trello board style system there, where so I'd walk them through that sales process and set up some automations. Since building Pebble, we've got a board in Pebble that does a lot of the same things. So you can track when those leads come in. You can pull them into your board, walk them through the different processes. You can add tasks and reminders for what things need to be done at different times. And then hopefully you close them, and then you sort of walk through the full sales process and payments and all that stuff. So,
yeah, I know HubSpot a lot, and that's actually what I use. And I started out using the free stuff. Like I need to use the upgraded or premium services until I got to a scale where I definitely needed to purchase that.
Yeah.
One thing that part of my marketing process, it's like I always say this: before you market it anywhere, get your neighbor letters out.
Oh yeah, that's a big one too.
That's probably one of my favorite things to do. Is I used to sort of do this by hand. Sort of the adjacent neighbors in the area. You never know, and the neighbors either duke it out or work together to acquire it or whatever. They come up with a lot of creative ways to try to get your property or not let you sell that property. So I definitely will interact with the neighbors. It's probably one of your best return on investment in terms of time.
Yeah, that's the quickest way. Oh man, I've sold some properties in like days, where just acquired, sent neighbor letter, and then like 3 days later somebody's like, okay, I'll buy it. No negotiation, just I'll take it.
Sometimes you may have the situation where your neighbor never got your letter, so send a photographer out there to hang out for a little bit, because your neighbors will notice, and they will pick up on that. In fact, that's exactly what's going on right now. So neighbor letters, I used to do those by hand. It was very annoying, but now that we've got document generation inside of, the way we sort of do neighbor letters is just, a drop of a list, and out goes all our neighbor, 40 to 100 neighbor letters out in the area. Again, I think it's worth every penny to get out your neighbor letter before you even start doing anything else. So I would say that's heavily part of my process. It's old fashioned, but it works.
It works, man. If it works, why change it? And
Yeah.
it was funny. I actually got a question like that. I get my Facebook Messenger blows up with just questions like, how do I do this? How do I do that? And all this stuff. And some people who haven't bought the course will ask me, and they'll sneak in, because I can't keep track of everyone. So I'm just like, I'll help you, whatever. But anyways, it was that same question. It's like, hey, should I reach out to the neighbors, or how should I approach this? And it's like, honestly, that's the first thing you should do. Definitely 100%. And then put it out in the market. Because you definitely want to sell it fast. That's pretty much the name of the game. And that's what the systems are here for. It's just to make it more simpler for you. Yeah. Now, do you guys use like Data Tree, Agent Pro? What do you guys use for acquiring your properties? Or does REI Conversion have something for that?
No, we sort of operate on a bring your own list model. So that's where the Pebble process starts. It starts as with your scrubbed list. And that's on purpose. We know people have many different list tools that they like, whether it's directly from the county, or it's priced, or Data Tree, or there's a few other ones too.
There's quite a few.
Yeah, Agent Pro 247 is shutting down, which is funny. That was the first.
I heard about that a couple weeks ago. Yeah. I was like, "Are you sure about that?"
Yeah, that was the first one that I started with.
Yeah, I started with Property Radar back in the day. They've changed.
Still using Agent Pro, switching.
Yeah, do you have to switch because of the shutdown?
Yeah, so it's crazy. I was like, well, gotta change it up now.
Yeah.
The great thing is that there's other systems out there. So there's just one. But that's what my VAs know. So I was like, it's gonna honestly just keep doing it.
Yeah, and we really love Priced. Priced is backed by Data Tree data, so it's all Data Tree data, but they do a lot of that analysis and sort of pre-scrubbing your list. So that's really helpful. Yeah. And then those can be brought right into Pebble, and we upload them and sort of make the process start with your mailings right there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so right now for mailing, like I use letterprinting.net, and when and excuse me, my voice just got an octave deeper there. With Jessy, when we were doing the podcast and so on, like we were talking about that, but yeah, it looks like Pebble is definitely a lot cheaper, so I'm definitely looking into that. So we'll have to connect on that.
Yeah, nice.
Letterprinting.net has been working really well, and it's actually really simple. I just think like Pebble works really well as well, and it's just a little cheaper. So
I think a lot of people get trapped into this whole like, I want to get the cheapest mailing rates,
right?
When we really got to look at all the added value. When I talk about momentum and how important it is to continue to move the business forward, and it's great that you get cheap rates, but with all the sort of different added value that really save you time and streamline things, that becomes very, very invaluable. You almost can't put a price on that. And yes, we are aggressive on the price and so on and so forth. But what I see more importantly is how are we keeping our data together? I remember when I first started, it was like, it was great at first because it was easy. It was simple. You didn't have a lot. But how quickly does things become a rat's nest, right?
Yeah.
And then you got to go backwards and untie all of that.
Yeah.
It was like I was helping my wife the other day. She does the laundry. We live in a very small place, so we have to hang a lot of the clothing to let it dry. And all these hangers were just like, all twisted into each other. But it feels like that, having to go back and undo all the hangers and get them all straightened out. And and that's why it's so important to look at the way you're sort of organizing your system. And coming back to mailing, it's not just the mailing rates, but the ability to record all your property data in one centralized location, be able to, now we've just, now you can look up all the parcel data within the system as well. And all these things, keeping it centralized is tough as a land investor. So figuring out how to centralize your data is really important, because as you start to integrate and automate, when things are living like this everywhere, and you have to build the connection, this is where things become a little bit on the hairy side. And that's why having one central hub where data comes in and out of, it makes it a lot easier. Now, it's not to say you have to use Pebble or anything, but just when you're thinking about building a system or starting up something, make sure you take that into consideration, because you will spend considerable amount of time sort of unworking those hooks and those hangers, right?
Especially if you're just starting out, or you're just getting into scaling your business, it's going to be messy, because if you're getting, let's say, 10 deals or more, or you're getting like 30, 50, up to 100 leads.
Not even 10 deals. It's like even under a 10, I'm like already a headache.
Yeah, it's the worst when somebody calls you and they're like, "Hey, I got your letter," and then you're like, "Okay, where do you live?"
It's like,
what?
So which of all 10 states are you in?
And then that immediately just like not docked your credibility point to like 20%.
So what I do is I always like, "Oh, perfect. Are you thinking of accepting the offer?" It's like, okay. And then I'll just tell them, like, "Can you give me the address?" And then just give me the whole address. I'm like, "Wait, all right, okay, Arizona, I got you. All right."
Yeah.
So you gotta be sneaky about it, but also practical.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great, man. I mean, I think that's we gotta close up, because we've been here for a while. I'm surprised there's no questions here. I have two really specialized guys.
Feel free, and if you're watching this later, feel free to also leave a question or comment. We'll be happy.
Right.
It's always like this, isn't that right, Kevin? Like, I'm like, "Hey guys, we're live right now. Anybody with a question?"
Live is always hard. People are busy. They're selling land, man. They don't have time to watch videos.
I hope so. If you're not, guys, if you're watching this, comment live. If you're not, comment replay. Ask us any questions in the future. If you're watching this in the future, or if you're now, like, I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to do that. You better type fast. Otherwise, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This is really fun to talk land investing and to talk business, because if I'm on here alone, my last live session, I was here alone, and I was just like presenting information, and rather than just having a conversation and actually, answering people's questions, getting their feedback, and also learning from other business professionals in this. We're getting quite a bit of people liking our stuff, so I appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. That wraps it up for us here at the Land Investing Pros. Thank you for watching, and you guys have a great one. All right.
Thanks everyone for having us.